everybody, welcome back to the Garrett 426 channel. Today we are tearing down the Hemi to a long block. So like I just said, we're tearing it down to a long block. We're going to go ahead and detach the transmission, take the intake manifolds off, valve covers off, wiring harness off, pretty much everything right here at the front. And a big reason why is because I want to make sure that this engine is nice and good and there's no issues with it internally. It does run and sound great, which is a plus, but it still has 200,000 miles on it. So I don't want to say worn out because she's pretty strong, but you know, let's clean her up, make her nice. I also need to go ahead and make sure that we have the correct ports on this motor. Pretty sure I have oval ports. I don't think I have D ports. I think the 6.1 was a D port, and so were the 6.4s and Hellcats. I need to go ahead and take the manifold off anyways to confirm it so I can get the right gaskets so we can put my headers on, because they're two different types of gaskets. So yeah, let's go ahead, tear it down, and get it on the engine stand, which is over there. So everybody has their own little trick and whatnot on how to remove the mechanical cooling fans, which we are completely getting rid of this thing. One for space underneath the hood. Pretty sure it'll fit with it, but I have an electric cooling fan anyways, and we're just gonna go ahead and use that because it's better and, you know, more horsepower. Like I said, everybody has their own different way of removing these. You can go ahead and get one of those fan tool things that hold the pulley on the water pump. I prefer to take this adjustable right here, which barely fits all the way open. I'm gonna have to smack it on just a little bit, which is good. You need that. There we go. Take your 3/8 ratchet, put it into the tensioner. You just push all the way down on the tensioner to make the belt as tight as it can possibly be. Take a dead blow. There we go. That's how you remove the cooling fan. At least that's my trick to doing it. Sorry to interrupt this video, but it would be really cool if you could go ahead and hit that subscribe button, especially if you're interested in this Hemi stuff, because it's just going to become more and more and more V8 Hemi stuff. So yeah, please hit the subscribe button. I'd greatly appreciate it. You can go ahead and click the little I'm a mechanic thing over there. I would appreciate it. Thank you. Now back to what we were doing. Now go ahead and take the belt off. Get this power steering pump out of here. Now, we're just going to go ahead and throw this away because we don't need it. I'm not going to be using a mechanical pump on my build. Instead, what I'm going to be using is this guy right here. This is a Ford-made part that goes on a Volvo. I'll go ahead and list which Volvos you can get this from, but you can go ahead and pick these up over at your local pick and pull for like 50 bucks. It is a electric power steering pump. It comes with its own microprocessor built in, so you don't have to do anything crazy. It even has a built-in relay. So you just hook up the red and black wire, and then I forget which wire it is here, but it's the trigger wire, and the pump just turns on, and it will figure out how much pressure you need all on its own. These are sweet. I recommend getting one. We'll talk more about this in a different video. Also, another reason too is it just gives me more space underneath the hood, and you know, saves on horsepower, because now that belt doesn't have to move a hydraulic pump. It can just stay right here, which I'll have to figure out how short my belt needs to be. I want to go ahead and replace this alternator with a 160 amp alternator. I'm pretty sure this is the 135. The reason why I want to do such high amperage is because I'm running an electric fan, and then I'm going to have the electric power steering pump. It's going to be a lot of electrical load. Plus I have a sound system in this truck, so I want to make sure that I have plenty of power. The AC pump is definitely coming off because I want a new one. The AC in the truck didn't really work. I don't know if it was a pump problem or a gas problem or what it was, but I didn't really care to find out. There we go. I am going to keep this line that's on it along with the sensor because I am going to need those stuff later on. And I'll also keep it for mock-up. I'm going to go ahead and keep these hoses for now, mostly just for mock-up reasons. Looking at the placement of them on this engine, they're actually very, very similar to where it would line up on the Dakota, so I might actually be able to cut these OEM ones to size, or you know, just mock them up, see if it'll work, and then I'll go out and buy brand new ones and do the same. If not, we're just going to go ahead and go with the universal coolant hoses. We're gonna leave all of this for right now. I don't think we're gonna use this, but if we end up not using it, we're gonna have to make a spot for our intake temperature sensor. More than likely, I'm getting rid of the EGR, because it's an EGR, it's stupid. I mean, no it's not, EPA, it's the greatest thing ever. It makes stuff smell good on tailpipe, yeah. Fuck the EGR. You really want to put that in your engine? That's disgusting. Be very careful with all the clips to the sensors. You really don't want to break any of them, because that'll suck if you do. So just be nice and gentle, pulling them all apart. Use a flathead to help with removing the safety bit. Don't pry on anything. That's how you break stuff. Trim tools, believe it or not, are really great for removing the wiring harness, like things that stick it to the hull. These are really good for just going up to them and going pop, and then you can actually reuse them, which is pretty sweet instead of yanking and breaking them. Yay, that's off. I know you should probably mark everything, but thankfully I'm blessed with an amazing memory, and I've been really bad about not marking stuff. But that's okay, I've only built like 3 cars so far. So. And there's also the fact that I do have the factory manual for 2006, 2005, and 2001 Dodge Dakota and Ram 1500, so I kind of already know where everything goes anyways. If I have to look at that as a reference, I will. Let's get these fuel rails off of here. I accidentally broke this, so yeah, I gotta get a new one. Sucks. They're all OEM. Looks like none of them have been replaced. So probably gonna take this all apart and clean them a lot. So definitely gonna need it. I'm gonna have to do so much cleaning on this thing. It is nasty. And as you can see, this is part of the reason why I want to take the intake manifold off. And so we could go ahead and clean up all that junk. Because that is just nasty. Man, those are some really big valves down there. It is a Hemi. I'm deleting all this right here. This is for the multi-cylinder displacement. We're going to be running a 2005 VCU, so these won't even be working anyways. So we're just going to unplug them, remove the wiring harness, and call it a day. Well, that's a lot better. I think we should go ahead and start pulling the transmission off of it. That seems like a good idea. So let's go ahead and start doing that. How the fuck do you access the torque converter bolts? I'm having one of those fuck this moments because, like, I can't figure out how to get to the torque converter bolts. I figured it out. There's this weird bracket thing that I just got out. Really don't have to bring the engine hoist here already. Anyways, I figured out how to get to them. So now we're at that point. So the camera overheated because, you know, me. So the engine's on the stand. I've already drained the oil and got the oil filter off. I also took the EGR valve off. Now I need to go ahead and remove the motor mounts and the exhaust manifolds. So let's do that. Dodge, why did you put an 18mm on an exhaust manifold? That's ridiculous. My bad, I didn't mean oval ports. I meant square or D ports, and we have square ports. Cool, which means we need to get an OEM square port gasket, which is what this is. It fell in the thing. That's okay. We can get rid of these because these suck. Somebody's messed with this before, clearly, because that's a different gasket than this, and I'm going to make a wild assumption and say this is the OEM one, and clearly there is an exhaust leak. But as you can see, both of these bolts have broke off. So what are we going to do about that? Well, I'm going to get my vice grips, I'm going to put that on there, heat them up, spin them out, and a little bit of WD. That's one. Oh, that was way easier. And that's two. Now, we're gonna take the valve covers off, which are 8mm. Something cool with these Hemis is if you have to take the valve covers off, you do not have to take the coil packs off. You could literally pull them all up as one piece. These have probably never been off its entire life. There we go. We're definitely going to clean it up with some brake clean and whatnot and get it looking all nice and pretty because we got a little bit of sludge buildup and whatnot. But yeah, that's all piling up at the bottom of the cylinder heads, which who knows what that is. Like I said, when it ran and you guys saw it in the video, no noises, no nothing. I'm surprised I didn't even hear that exhaust leak. But yeah, we just gotta run through this whole thing and clean it on up. Same thing on this side. There's a bunch of this crud, a bunch of junk in there. No metal though. That's a good sign. I haven't found any metal in the entire motor, so that's awesome. But this is still pretty nasty. Let's go ahead and pull the spark plugs out. This will really tell us how the engine was running. Spark plugs are definitely old. Doesn't look terrible though. Oh man, yeah, of course these are old. These are the original champions. The porcelain's cracked on this one. I noticed whenever I got the truck that it felt underpowered from what it should have been. And this is starting to explain it. I mean, you could see where it was arcing off the porcelain. So, yeah. I'm not saying we had a dead cylinder. I don't think we did. Definitely had some that weren't running optimally. And given the amount of crud that's in this engine, tells me that oil changes weren't done regularly. But it did have great oil pressure. So, I don't know. We're just going to clean it up and throw new oil in it and plugs and all that. Same cylinder. The spark plug looks a lot better. There's no cracks in the porcelain, so that's good. This one looks like it was done off a freaking impact. That is the benefit of having two spark plugs per cylinder, is if one's arcing off, the other one will still go. I'm assuming that's how that works. Don't quote me on it, I'm not 100% sure. This one's okay. Now this just got very interesting. This is a different spark plug from all the rest. All the other ones have been champions. This is an AC Delco, and it's a iridium, and it looks like it's new. So is it that concerning? And looking at it, that's a champion, that's an AC Delco, AC Delco, AC Delco, 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 Delco. Oh no, champion, champion. There's different spark plugs in different holes. I understand that the spark plug jobs on these engines are not the funnest in the world because there's 16 of them. But I mean, come on, like, do all of them. Yep, here's the champion, and it's completely destroyed. So this is explaining a lot on why this engine was running the way that it was. It wasn't running bad, but like I said, it felt underpowered. And here's an AC Delco, which by the way, AC Delcos do not belong in a Hemi. You should only use NGKs or Champions in a Hemi. AC Delco, you put those in a Chevy. And even then, I would still recommend using NGKs because they are some really, really nice and very good spark plugs. And there's a Champion. It also kind of looks like they might have just bought 8 spark plugs and just kind of put them in whatever hole that they could reach. I know for a fact that that side of the engine, it's very hard to do spark plug jumps on. And I know that these back 4 cylinders are a real pain in the ass because they sit underneath the cowl. AC Delco, probably original. AC Delco, Champion, AC Delco. Now I understand that a lot of people might also be like, why in the hell would you even need 16 spark plugs? Well, Dodge did it for 2 reasons. The main reason was for emissions. It helped lower the emissions. It doesn't really help with power, but the spark plug not being directly in the center like most Hemis actually allows the valves to be a little bit bigger because they can get closer to each other. So you can end up blowing more air. Bet this one's an original. Yep. And this one's gonna be an AC Delco. It's gonna come out nice and easy. Yep. Let's go ahead, spin it over, take the oil pan off. All right, let's go ahead and make this quick before the camera overheats again. I went and I pulled the cap off of cylinder number 3, the cap of the connecting rod. So we could go ahead and check out the bearing and look at it. It is practically looks new. So maybe they were good on the oil changes. I don't know, because if you come over here, barely see it, there's sludge in this pan, like some grimy shit, and there's stuff in the pickup tube. But I did check it, none of it's metal. And you know, looking at this bearing right here, which I'm gonna have to retorque this thing down, if I run my fingernail across it, I don't feel anything. It's smooth as can be. So that's good. So this engine has a clean bill of health, besides the fact that it is absolutely disgusting. I'm gonna have to spend a lot of bright clean in this thing, but that's okay. So that's gonna do it for today's video. If you guys enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up. Stopping by for the first time, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Remember, this is a series. Next video, we're going to be doing more Hemi stuff, or we're going to be taking apart the truck. We're probably going to be cleaning the Hemi, more than likely. Definitely stick around for that, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.